Great. So we have a great panel today for this expert hour of Bimser International's annual virtual summit, SYNERGIZE 2021. We have Ron Loveland with us from Summit Safety and Efficiency. He has a lot of expertise in business process improvement and business process modeling and efficiency in different business sectors and verticals. So he is with us. Ron is joining us today so that we'll learn from him as to how to improve business processes and what type of techniques and fundamentals that we should keep in mind. Also in our panel today, in the scope of business process improvement, as well as remote work, I have my colleagues Samvad and Furkan Bas with us. So we'll also talk about Ensemble from the point of business process modeling digitally, no matter where you work. So let me first of all invite Ron Loveland to our virtual stage, and we'll learn from Ron as to fundamentals of business process improvement, and also what companies should be considering when improving business processes. Ron, welcome to our panel. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to your audience. Are you able to allow me to screen share?
Yes, absolutely. Let me stop sharing and you can continue. Please share your screen. Also, just for the record, at the moment we are broadcasting over Zoom and we are broadcasting over YouTube Live at the same time. So we have two groups of audience. And if you have any questions, please type your questions in chat box and we can address your questions in Q&A session. Ron, virtual stage is yours. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thanks again, Prasad. Again, appreciate the opportunity to talk to your audience. Yeah, so, how many times have you run into a situation where there's inefficiencies going on in your business processes, but you just don't know how to tackle them? So today we're going to talk about that. Just a little bit more background of mine. I am an engineer. I also have my MBA, and I run a safety, quality, and industrial engineering company. It works primarily with manufacturers to help them thrive in the high-cost Northeast. So we have done, quite a few projects working with companies that have complained about various challenges they may have. And today we're going to give you a couple of techniques that you might be able to use as you go forward. So what are we going to talk about today? Think about, what do you want to improve? What is it that you need to work on? What result do you want? How do you improve? Engage your team. That's really important. That's one of the key items, is to make sure that you have your team on board, everybody involved, so you're all pulling in the same direction. We're going to talk about an improvement blitz, a quick way to be able to get some quick wins and get some momentum going in the continuous improvement process. I'm sure that Alex talked about continuous improvement in his presentation on ISO, and that also dovetails nicely with lean is always about continuous improvement. What roadblocks you may encounter, and then what are some of the benefits you can get out of process improvement. All right, so audience, what is it you want to improve in your process, right? What are those challenges that are keeping you up at night? What are those things that are holding you back from being profitable? We typically look at 4 different areas when we go into an organization. Typically we hear complaints about, it's crazy expensive to work here. Our margins are shrinking, costs are going up, especially this past year, a year or two, when you saw the tariffs come in and the price of metals were going up. If you're in the construction business, matter of fact, we just did a remodel in our house, and man, the cost of lumber has doubled in the last year. So cost is a big issue. Quality, are you having quality issues? Returns, cost of quality within your organization. Safety is a big thing. That's one of our key tenets. Are you having accidents? Are you having slips and falls? Are you having issues that are driving your cost up on the workers' comp side? And then finally, on-time deliveries. Are you struggling just to try to get deliveries out? And again, supply chain issues have been a big impact this past year because of COVID. All right, so when you start a project, you got to think about what result do you want. And Stephen Covey, in his book, The 7 Attributes of people that get things done, is begin with the end in mind, right? So you want to make sure that you think about what do I want to accomplish in this process improvement. The next thing is defining the problem. A lot of times people struggle with, what is the real problem here, and then defining what your defining what the result is. So how do you improve, right? First of all, you have to identify the customer. What does the customer want? What is it we're trying to improve for what case? Is the customer want better pricing? Does the customer want better quality? Do they want better on-time deliveries? Whatever it might be. And then we're going to take a look at, Edwards Deming was kind of the father of total quality improvement and the whole process of improvement. So he looks at, we take a look at the Deming Cycle. We look at planning. His cycle is plan, do, check, and act, right? So plan, you want to make sure you identify, what you want to change and how to do it. You take a look at the current state. You take a look at where you want to go in the future, and then you map out an implementation plan. Next thing is get out there and execute, right? You want to do it, right? A lot of people, they plan, and never get around to actually executing the improvement. So important to just, sometimes it's, if you can get 75, 80% of the plan executed right, you don't have to have a perfect plan, just get out there and do it. And then you check it, what improvements are working for you? What type of changes are working for you, and how are those improvements coming through? And then act, continue to slice the onion, peel the onion, and continue to improve, and just repeat this cycle. And it looks like this, like plan, do, check, act, right? You want to make sure you're in a continuous improvement cycle. All right, so let's talk about improvement blitz, right? A lot of times our customers come to us and they say, yeah, we need to get this problem done. We had a customer who makes exhaust systems and header systems for race cars and high performance vehicles. And he comes to me and he says, yeah, man, I'm getting all these phone calls all day with, wrong stuff in the box. The systems are leaking. It doesn't fit right. I'm just going crazy with all these calls I'm getting from customers. So we did a project, a quality management project, looking at, what were the causes in those areas. But that was his big thing. And the other thing he talked about was, hey, for a lot of our systems, it's taken us way too long to get out there. If you think about, a teenage kid, he's got his car up on jacks, he needs a new system. He's not going to wait for a month. If he can't get it in a couple of days. As a matter of fact, now, Amazon has kind of spoiled us. If we don't get it like the next day, then we're on to somebody else and trying to get it. So key component in your business to make sure that you get those improvements made. So we look at for dramatic improvements in productivity, quality, delivery, lead time, space utilization, whatever the issue is. Well, we typically try to keep it within a week, 5 days time. So let's talk about how we do an improvement blitz, right? Day one is setting the scene. You want to make sure that you engage the team, you meet the team, you tell them what's going on, you tell them what the objectives are, what we're trying to improve. And it's also really important to have the bosses involved, right? The team is going to listen to what the boss wants. And if they know that the owner or the boss wants a certain thing done, then they're more likely to get engaged and get this done. The other important thing about getting the team involved is, as an outsider consultant, or even as a company executive, if you say this is the way we're going to do it, it might work for a day or two, but then it's eventually going to go back to the way it was. So it's really important to get the team involved, get their ideas, get them on board. So then it becomes the team's idea and improvement. So that way you get a lot better sustainability. So first thing you want to do is observe the current process, right? You know, for those of us who are industrial engineers, we go out with our clipboard and our stopwatch, and we time things, we flow chart, we take a look at, you know, what's going on. If we see somebody standing around, we're saying, well, why are you standing around? Or if you see somebody waiting, well, what are you waiting for? And you identify all those wastes that are going on in the process. You know, once you have the current state mapped out, then you take a look at, okay, what are some of the issues that are impacting us? We had a customer in the Bronx that they were having you know, troubles getting product out on time. And it turns out they were spending like $1 million a year with expedite fees because they couldn't get stuff out on time. But the big issue is they would, you know, the production team would put an order in with the warehouse and say, I need X amount of materials to be able to get my job done this day. And they're waiting. Finally, at noontime, they decide, well, we better put another order in because we didn't get the first time. So now all of a sudden, later in the day, you get double orders, and you see how it, you know, all this material piles up and impacts your flow and your process. You know, once you get those opportunities identified, now you want to go out there and implement the new process. So you want to plan it, you want to communicate it, again, get people involved, implement and modify. And then finally, report and analyze. You know, take a look at how you did, and that goes back to Deming's plan, do, check, act. You want to make sure that you're getting the results that you want. All right, some of the rules that we have when we do a blitz is be open to change. You know, just because you've done it this way for the last X amount of years, you know, doesn't mean that's the way you should be doing it. A lot of times it's like the old telephone game. You know, one person tells the next person, by the time you get the instructions on how to make a product down to the last person who just started, it's completely upside down and wrong. You want to stay positive. We encourage everybody on the team, no matter if it's you know, the janitor or if it's the plant manager, you know, speak out if you disagree with the approach, because there's typically all kinds of great ideas. Matter of fact, that brings up another case study that we have. We had a customer in the Hauppauge Industrial Park that makes train stops and equipment for locomotives and trains. And they were setting up a production line, and the janitor, who happened to be walking by, said, "Hey, why don't you take a look at using a carousel for this operation here? So then the operator doesn't have to bend over, hurt their back in the operation." So, you know, you don't know where the ideas are coming from. Be open to everybody. No blame environment. Treat others as you want to be treated. You know, just treat everybody as equal as you're going through this process. And then finally, you know, you can plan, but the biggest thing is just do it. Get out there and make it happen. All right, so let's talk about setting goals for the improvement, right? Why do we want to have a goal? You know, think about playing a sport, playing soccer, playing basketball with no goal, right? It's not much fun. So the same thing when you're on a factory floor or in a production operation. You want to see what the goals are. You know, how many parts per day, how many parts per hour that we need to put out, and make sure that the operators know that. You know, that's their measuring stick. And if they can beat the goal for the day, then they feel good about it, right? And you also corporately make your company goals. All right, goals are smart, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. You know, make sure that they're stepping in the right areas. So the first thing is you want to identify the current state. Again, we talk about mapping things out. You want to go, the Japanese call it the gemba. You want to go out there and see what's going on the factory floor or on the shop floor. You want to identify the value-added items, the non-value-added items, and then the required items. You know, there may be some items that you have to do just for government reporting or for your own corporate reporting. You want to keep track of, you know, what the labor costs are. So you want to identify and collect the data. And then, you know, it's always good to be fact-based as opposed to just guessing about what's going on in the operation. Here's a picture of a value stream app that we put together for a client. As you see, it can get pretty lengthy and complicated. But the great thing about this is, I don't know if you're a visual person, I certainly am. When you put it on paper and everybody looks at it, a lot of times people upstream from the operation don't realize what they're doing to somebody downstream just by what they're operating at. So this again brings a team together and allows them to work together to improve the process. And as always, you got to think about, the customer. What is the customer value? Do they value the operation that, maybe you're making bad parts? That's on you. It's not on the customer. They want quality parts. They want it on time, and they only want to pay for what they get. Some of the wastes we find are overproduction. Again, going back to this company in the Bronx, they had material stacked to the roof that was getting way of anything. And then of course, when you have overproduction, the forklift come by and runs over the product, or they, bang into things. So it just becomes a problem. Plus you're tying up all your money. If you have, overproduction, which creates excess inventory. Defects, of course, like that customer I was talking about that makes the headers and exhaust systems. Customer doesn't want to pay for a defective product, and then you get to make it twice. So what's that costing you? Non-value added processing. Are you gold plating your process? Waiting. That's the big one, right? Whenever I go into a factory and see a production operation going on, you can always see waiting somewhere, waiting for inventory, waiting for materials, waiting for tools, waiting for parts, whatever it might be. Underutilized people. Again, go back to the story about the janitor, right? The janitor had some great ideas, and good thing that the company that was doing the production line was open to get those ideas, because he had came up with a great idea, and he sketched it out, designed it, and it was incorporated into the process and saved him a lot of time, and ergonomically, helped out the operator. XX motion, if you find yourself pinging around the operation, if we call it a spaghetti diagram, right? You kind of draw where somebody goes to get parts, to get tools, to get whatever they need to be able to operation. And then transportation, it's the way that Amazon has kind of taken over the market. Is they said, okay, free shipping, right? Nobody wants to pay for shipping anymore. So that's a waste. So if you can cut down on transportation, that's certainly improvement. And again, here's a value stream map with some metrics in there that talk about what's value added, what's not value added. Some of the tools we use to look for improvements is the data, right? You want to take a look at your production data, take a look at flow charts, cause and effect diagrams, check sheets, Pareto charts. Everybody knows what Pareto is, right? That's the old 80-20 rule. So typically 20% of your issues create 80% of your problems, or vice versa. 20% of your customers, generate 80% of your revenues typically, or maybe 20% of your products get you the most, get 80% of your revenues. So interesting information there, but again, it goes back to data, understanding, what's going on in your operation, and these charts and data to have a chance to take a look at that. All right, so if we have issues going on in the operation, we want to find out what the root cause is. What is the root cause? It's that bottom line problem that really affects what's going on. One problem may have more than one root cause. There may be there may be many, one root cause contributed to many items. You want to make sure that you get that root cause addressed so you don't continue to have problems. And that was, again, going back to the header and exhaust system guys. We found out that the root cause really was the welders who were welding the pipes together really had no incentive to make sure that the pipes were welded well and not leaking, right? They were just welding them together, throw them over to the fence of shipping, let shipping figure it out. But by the time we got to shipping and it was leaking, that was a problem. So what we did is made sure that each welder had their initials stamped on each product. So that way we'd go back to them and say, hey, you know, what's this weld you did? It's a bad weld, it's creating a problem. So all of a sudden the quality went way up as the accountability was put in place. But when you're going through an operation like this, it's you know, I'll make sure there's a no blame environment. You want to make sure that you know, everybody is open to sharing what their areas are, you know, sharing where the problems are, because you know, who knows better than the person who's doing the day-to-day operation where the real opportunities and where the problems are. But some of the things you want to look at is, you know, don't focus on the person, focus on the process, right? Is the training appropriate? Is the documentation available? Do they get all the right information? Do they have the right tools? Are the tools all up to speed? You know, are they, have they been maintained? Are the calibration systems maintained? All those types of things that Alex talked about earlier. All right, so here's here's kind of a 5 why of you know, talking about an issue. So the problem was the Washington Monument was degrading, and we go through the whys here. Why? Because of harsh chemicals. Why do we have to use harsh chemicals to clean up after the pigeons? Why are there so many pigeons? They eat the spiders, and there's a lot of spiders on the monument. Okay, why are there so many spiders? They eat gnats and lots of gnats in the monument. Why are there so many gnats? They attracted to the light at dusk. So the solution was to turn off the lights at a later time, or turn the lights on at a later time, and keep the gnats away. And then you see how you get to the root cause, and it creates a lot better solutions for you than just having harsh chemicals. Right, so we just talked about the 5 whys. You want to make sure you dig down until you find the real base root cause. All right, so let's talk about cause and effect diagram, sometimes known as Ishikawa or fishbone. This looks at various types of potential issues that you might see in a problem to try to find a root cause. Again, you're trying to get down to the real root cause, and here's kind of a template to take a look at. So we look at the environment, you know, we look at the materials, the methods, the equipment, the people, and we try to find out what the effect is. All right, so you know, you want to allow the members to throw their ideas out and fit them into the chart, and again include them in the process. So in this case, we have shipping problems, right? Is it an environment issue? Is it a material issue? Incorrect quantity, incorrect bill of material, bill of lading, wrong destination. Is it equipment issue? You know, is it dirty equipment, wrong to take worn down equipment? Are there methods involved? Is there spillage? Is there late dispatch? And are there people? You know, are the folks in the shipping area, you know, damaging things as they're trying to pack them and move them around? Or is there an attitude with the driver? So you kind of see what the various causes may be in a cause effect diagram. And here's another one, taking a look at another project we did. And as you go through this and identify potential issues, then as the audience or as the group is taking a look at this, you see that in this case, lot sizes had 4 checks. So a lot of people identified that as a method area. Setup times were an issue. You see tools were an issue, availability. You know, how many times I had one customer say to me, well, all you found was that we need more screwdrivers. Well, guess what? It's screwdriver, you know, having everybody borrow the neighbor's screwdriver was creating a lot of waste and a lot of waiting time. So how much is that going to cost you to fix it? So, you know, so sometimes it's the simple things that you find that make the big effect. Brainstorming is great. You want to make sure that you have everybody in a room. Again, no blame, open issues. Every idea is a smart idea, and you kick them around until you find the best solution. Just a couple of brainstorming items that we we worked on a customer, organizing the staging and large castings to reduce the clutter, position the parts for work cell, etc. And then as you brainstorm all these future things, then you identify, all right, which of these is going to get me the best return on my investment? And a lot of times you look for the low cost, no cost solutions rather than just going out and buying a new piece of automation that may or may not fix the problem for you. Again, here's a future state that's got a lot of metrics in it that you see. You see how much time each process takes. You want to make sure you get good flow so you don't have waiting between the different processes. And you'll see underneath those various ideas of how to improve it. And at the bottom left-hand side, you see the top 3 that were selected by the team: overproduction, excess inventory, transportation, and wasted motion. So, this team decided that, they were going to reduce batch sizes and get a lot more product out. Roadblocks, here's some of the excuses we hear. We're too busy to study it. Good idea, but the timing's premature. I don't have the money. Theory's great, but it's not going to work. Is there something else you can do? A lot of avoidance things. Matter of fact, I just had this conversation with my colleagues this morning about a company that needs to collect data. They put counters on their machines to see how many products they get out, and they've had some issues getting the counters in there. But it's like, hey man, without the data, without understanding what's going on there, you're not going to be able to fix the problem. So stop making excuses and just get out there and get it done. Some of the results that we've seen, 40 to 60% reduction in lead time, 10 to 15% productivity, 10 to 20% reduction in rework. So a lot of great improvements. You just have to, put the time in, take the time away from your normal production and invest in, it's the old adage about the lumberjack out there chopping away with his axe on the trees. At some point, you got to stop and sharpen the axe, and this is what we're asking people to look at. All right, thank you. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat box for me, or feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. We're always happy to have a conversation, no cost, with our customers. Our focus is on manufacturers, distributors, and on the safety side, we do construction safety, the OSHA training. So we'll be happy to help you. Thanks again, Prasad.
Ron, thank you very much. Let me take over the screen. Please stay with us, because I'm sure we're going to have questions in the Q&A session, so we can address those questions together. Sure. Just like Ron mentioned earlier, we have our contact information on the screen. So if you'd like to continue this conversation, if you have company-specific, industry-specific questions, feel free to send us an email, and we'll be happy to address your questions. Also, today in the afternoon, Ron also will be talking about OSHA compliance requirements with us this afternoon. So we are also very excited about learning about OSHA compliance details, since our software systems also helping organizations comply with OSHA. So we'll combine these two knowledge together in the session in the afternoon today. So we are talking about this afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, that we'll be meeting and talking about OSHA as part of our summit session, SYNERGIZE 2021. Great. So, Ron, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Very informative, very educational. We learned a lot, and that's great. So we truly appreciate it. So since now we have some fundamental information about business process improvement, some techniques that we learned from Ron during this meeting. So let's talk about how we can actually make it happen digitally, whether you are working remotely or you are working on-site, or you have a hybrid office, as we described earlier in our summit in the morning, especially. The future looks like it's going to be a hybrid office in terms of remote work. So we can talk about from the point of remote work, as well as hybrid office as well. So for that purpose, I'm going to hand it over to Sam, my colleague, and Sam will be talking about how you can actually manage your business process modeling digitally. So there are different parts of this. Ron mentioned in detail with different techniques and approaches. So we'll basically show you how you can digitize your business processes in a digital environment of Ensemble, which is our proprietary software system, and how you can manage your policies, procedures, link to those processes, for example, and how you can digitize that process and those applications. Once you have this actually laid out, once you know how you can describe your operations in a digital environment, then the next thing is going to be basically setting performance goals. And then we need to monitor KPIs as to how we are doing. So all these that I just described is actually ready on Ensemble. Ensemble is an intelligent business process modeling, performance management, and balance scorecard software system. And today we'll talk about intelligent business process modeling part of Ensemble and reports and dashboard. So we have many different organizations using Ensemble. We've been developing Ensemble for a long time, as you see. It's a multi-language, multi-currency, multi-location software system, and an organization can use Ensemble. In addition, if you are working remotely or if you have a hybrid office, also you can use Ensemble with a web browser. It has a very modern architecture, Ensemble, and it works on cloud servers, on-premise servers. You can access remotely, and very practical, especially for business process modeling. So for this purpose, I'd like to invite my colleague Sam Watts to our virtual stage, and we'll see how Ensemble looks, how it feels, and how we can digitize your business process management, modeling operations on Ensemble. Sam, we can see your screen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining today's virtual conference, and thank you, Ron, for your presentation, which is very informative. And in the following, I will demonstrate Ensemble, which is our intelligent business process modeling, performance management, and balance scorecard system software. And as you can see on the screen, Ensemble is a web-based system, so you can connect Ensemble by using your web browser like Google Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, or Safari. So that you can connect to the system and work remotely and manage all the business process modeling, and also review all the business process that you have recorded in Ensemble by using your web browser. Also, Ensemble is a permission-based system. So you will see what you're supposed to do based on the permissions that are granted to your account. As Ensemble, our system, is also helped you to create a different model within our system, meaning like different instances in our system. So if you have different branches in different locations, for example, so that you can manage all of them in one system. And also the system allows you to pick and choose the time period that you want to see in terms of the data that we record in the system for this particular model. So you can also select the time frame on the top in right after you log in. And going back to the model, as you have the permission to come to this model for these branches, for this branch, for example, or this department, then you can change the model right after you log in as well. And another example about the permission is the modules that you can see on the left. So today we will more focus on the process modeling module in Ensemble. So it's helped you to find all the process that you have put together as a flow chart, and those can be a reference for the for different departments. So, and right after you log into Ensemble, you can find all the pending tasks and also the request for approval on this home screen. For example, there is a process that we start a revision or we receive a request for update. Then as the approver, like myself, I can review this request and connect to it directly from my home screen. And in terms of the notification, You will see them in Ensemble right after you log in, and also you can find a reminder in your email inbox as well. So this is the two-way notification features of our system in order to make sure you will not miss any important task that are assigned to you. And in Ensemble, on our left, we come to the process modeling module. And in this module, we can manage and create different process for different categories, like for management, for operational, or for different departments. Those can be defined in our system. And right here, in order to make sure the business process that we have in our company, we can manage it and we can run it efficiently. One of the best way is we design and model the business process by using our system, and that it can be a reference for everyone who has the question about running this business process. For example, audit. How we manage audit, people may ask in our company. And they can always refer to this diagram and have an understanding how we should run the audit operations in our company. So think about, like, we have, let's say, 500 managers, and all of them, they have to make sure how they run the audit in their own departments. You don't want to receive 500 emails for this inquiry, and instead make sure all of them running the audit operation efficiently. They can refer to this diagram and have an overview how we should manage this operation or the business process that we have in the company. As you can see right here on the left, you can see you can define different elements in this flow chart, and also the action that you should take. Like, as for the right here, we have the green circle, and then you can see what it is about. And also we can open this and see if there who is the responsible person or the customer is related to. Those can be defined while you are having your process modeling. And this is the final chart that we digitize it and draw it by using our system. And I will show you how we can draw it and define different and record different information for different steps. But in this example, you can see right here we have the audit department, and we publish the plan. And it might be a very, we simplify the whole process for auditing. You might have a auditing operation in very detail, but it is in our demo environment. So we simplify the flow, and you will see after we publish the planning, then we'll send this to the auditor. Auditor will check it and then perform the audit, and then send this back to the audit commission for review and closing the audit. Simply, this is how we can refer to the flow chart and have an understanding how what should be the flow for having the audit. And to the detail, like what we should perform, then it will be, we can manage it in another system like QDMS for managing the actual audit operations. So this flow chart gives you the big picture of how we should manage the business process and how we should run this in our company. And we can create a different business process flow chart by using the business process modeling module. And this is another example for managing the suggestions. Like we receive or we want to share our suggestions. So what we should do. So the owner should enter their enter and share their suggestions, and then we will get to the pre-assessment and then go through it step by step, like if the content is controlled, if it is, and when it is approved, then we will start the action planning, and then we perform the action. So you can see we can have different layers in the process modeling module while we are drawing or defining it, and also different shape of and represent different actions that we should take in by reading or viewing this particular flow chart. And in Ensemble, we have the capability to define different process step type, like when it is start or how we should represent it. And then we can have our the shape, like a circle, and then we can define the color of it. And we can have different steps, like when we are making, it is a decision, like what it should look like. It should be in a diamond. And when it is finished, how it should look like. Then it will be represented as a red circle, for example. So you can create a different shape or for different steps that you should take in our process modeling module. And once they are defined, then we can start managing our processes. So you can go to our system and start managing the model, and it is a brand new one for this virtual conference. So when we are drawing our when we are modeling the business process, these are all the steps, the process steps that we have defined on our right, and you are more than welcome to drag and drop right here and put together what you want to start with. And we can have our diagram, and then we can add some tasks in there. For example, this is for, excuse me, let's say this is for incident management, for example. And of course, you can change the font size and also the style of it. And also you can make it bold, like you are managing in a Word, for example. And then we started, we want to have, let's say, add a panel to our, let's say, the department. And then we can pick and choose like the quality department. We can start right here. Then you can see we should start starting from here, the panel, and then we can start our flow and put the additional information here. Like we can see for entry the incident. So those can be managed right here in our diagram or in this modeling. And then what's next? Do we need to make any decision? Then we can put this diamond into the flow. And how we can connect it is we simply make this draw the graph to draw our graph and then drag it to another. Then they will be connected with an arrow, for example. And we can add our test again into this decision, make it either yes or no. And we can double click this particular shape and then grant it a name and also what it is the type, the owner of this, or the description. So for example, instead of having this text box, actually we can do this right here as a name, saying entry. And then we can put the condition, and also if there's any cost related to this action. This is very important for us to keep tracking how much we will spend on this particular action and in this particular business process. So saying it is 1,000, and then the time that we need, for example, like it will take us 60 minutes. And also we can add some opportunity if there's any, for example, if it is a decision or a business process for entering a new partner, then we can add our opportunity right here and record it. And also on the top, we can pick and choose who is or who are responsible for this particular action. So this is the user list that we have recorded and saved in our system, Ensemble, and then we can pick and choose the responsible person. and also if it is related to any customer. So we can also define it right here as we come to the customer list on the top. And then we can pick and choose the customer name. And also if it is related to any supplier or any third parties, like not only supplier, but they can be your vendor or your contractor. Those can be also connected to this action. And if there's any link that you want to put as a reference, for example, we start this incident management, but we want to make sure you are complying with, let's say, ISO, or some standard. And then we can put the URL here, like the website. I just put this up. It's not ISO actually, and you can put your URL here and then connect this with your with this particular action. Meaning when we start it, what we should see and what we should pay attention to, like the customer list, and then who is the responsible. We can always keep tracking to in this business process modeling. And right here, we can have maybe we can make our decision and then review and approve, for example, as its name, or the action that we should take, review and approve, for example. And then we can put this right here as done, and then we can connect these two diagram together, and then start managing our process, for example. Like and after that, we will have certain activities, like for example, corrective action for this incident, and then we will close the case. We will close it. So it can be a very nice features to have, and as a reference for the all the employees in our company to follow. And once it is done, then we can save this and put this available to into the workflow, like requesting for approval, review and approval of this business process. Then you can find this in the process modeling module. And this is how easy that you can manage this particular business process by using our system. And always you can find them in the process modeling module and get your reference for running the business process. In addition, there is a reporting tool that allows you to create different reports. So those are the ready-made reports that you can see for all the business process that you modeled in our system. For example, like the process summary list, then we can find this right here, and it shows you all the information of the process that you recorded in our system. For example, the audit management or the suggestion management, you can see the process type and also the version number, because we need, or we might want to update our business process based on the changes in our company. For example, during the pandemic, we should update our business process for auditing. We have to manage it digitally. So the system keep tracking what you have changed for, to your against your business process that you have digitized in our system, so that the system will also do the versioning and keep tracking all the version that you have recorded in your system. And right here, you can also see the one who prepared this particular business process, and also with the date and time as well. This is one of the example of the report, and you are more than welcome to export your report as Excel and PDF file for sharing with any responsible parties. It's come to the end of my demonstration of Ensemble. Thank you very much.
Sam, thank you for your demonstration. Much appreciated. Let's continue our summit with our session with Q&A in this expert hour about business process improvement. We have some questions coming from YouTube, some coming from Zoom. some some of them send me private messages, some of them are available on YouTube, so let's address them one by one, and then I will take it from there. So one of the questions is, Ron, is for you. In terms of, based on your experience, what are the typical challenges to perform business process improvement in different industries? Ron, are you with us? Looks like Ron actually has been disconnected. So okay, so let's focus on the questions on the Ensemble side. Let me see if there are any questions that we can address. Actually, as for this question that I just got, actually for Ron, actually he mentioned it in his presentation as to typical challenges that he has been actually seeing in his practice as for business process improvement. Some of them, for example, to find time to study as is, where the company is as for the business process practices. Other one was about finding time. Another one was about finding budget. Another one about finding resources as for team members to dedicate on business process improvement. Some of them was from the list that Ron mentioned is the difficulty to find collaboration between departments, because most of the business processes are linked to each other between different departments. So that's my take based on what I just saw in Ron's presentation. Moving forward, let's address also some questions about Ensemble itself. One of the questions about the privileges and security levels. I think this question is about the permissions. Well, we talked about permissions early on, but we talked about Synergy through cloud automation platform. We talked about QDMS, quality and compliance management software. This is our first session today in this summit at SYNERGIZE 2021. So I believe we can talk about it. That is, I'm sure that'll be very, very helpful. Sam, if you are there, can you talk about a little bit about the permission and role-based capabilities of Ensemble?
Sure. And as for the permission, first of all, in order to keep your system insecure, every users will have their own credentials for logging into the system, like their unique username and also their password combination. And in addition, the system will log you out when you are staying idle over a certain amount of time, and it is configurable in our system. For example, like 5 minutes. If you're staying idle in the system, you're doing nothing with it, not even clicking it, then the system will log you out automatically in order to make sure no one can touch your own account and manage something he or she's not is not supposed to do. Also, you can set up different permission settings based on the user role, position, profession, department, and group. In example, the typical example will be the modules that they can see in the system, and also the action that they can perform. For example, the one that I have just demonstrated, having the business process modeling, like drawing the chart, it is also permission-based. As long as you have the permission to create a new business process in our system, otherwise you are not able to create any model within our system. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. I'm getting pretty good questions, actually. So one of the questions is about those models that you just showed in your demonstration. Are they actionable?
Actually, no, they are not actionable. And as for like the detail of the action, they will be performed in QDMS, which Ensemble is integrated with.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so QDMS software has natural integration with Ensemble. So any documents, any actions, any corrective actions that needs to be done, then it is already linked to QDMS. So I think also this conversation also takes us to another level, which is EVA, right? Our enterprise content management platform, our workflow engine. So if you have workflow-based business processes, after you design it on Ensemble, as my colleague Sam demonstrated earlier, what you can do is you can actually design the business processes on EVA, and you can actually perform your business processes digitally on our electronic business automation platform. So in this case, business process modeling on the Ensemble side is pretty managerial on a managerial level. And you design your business processes, you feed every single business process with documentation, policies, procedures, SOPs, and so on. You design it as demonstrated earlier. You run an approval within the organization to officiate the business process modeling. And when someone needs to study or understand how the process is moving forward with documentation, policies, procedures, and instructions, they go into Ensemble and follow the steps one by one. If you like to digitize that particular step in Ensemble, you have two options. One, just like Sam mentioned, QDMS, that's one option. Another option is EVA for digitized workflow-based business process automation. Let's also remember, this morning, we also demonstrated Synergy CSP for you. Synergy is our true cloud, low-code, no-code business process automation platform. So if you like to be totally on cloud, then the solution needs to be on Synergy. So you can run it on cloud, you can access from anywhere, just like in our systems basically, but that's a cloud technology. And Synergy is another option. So it depends on your priority. We can basically help you make your model business processes digitized and automated, and be available on EVA or Synergy, basically, or QDMS, based on what you like to do, and depends on the nature of the actions that you are trying to take and make actionable. I hope this addresses your question. And sometimes these conversations needs to be a little longer than supposed to, or it takes longer than the time frame that we allocate for the Q&A. So please send us an email. Please feel free to send us an email directly, and we can schedule time for a call. And I will be happy to address your questions after we understand your challenges, your expectations, and business requirements. I'm sure there's going to be more specific way to address your questions as well as an alternative. Let me see if there is another questions that I can address. I think one of the questions is around, so what kind of techniques to perform root cause analysis? So maybe I can address this question because I had a chance to watch Ram's presentation. Also, we are familiar with root cause analysis ourselves as well. So for root cause analysis, there are different techniques in the marketplace. So typical ones, also Ram talked about it also in detail, which I really appreciated. One of them is basically Pareto, right? So to use Pareto approach, 80-20 rule. That is one approach. Another one is very typical for root cause analysis is 5 why analysis. So you keep questioning the situations until you find the root cause. Okay, so until you find the root cause, you cannot really address that challenge or the problem once and for all. Another method, as we learn, is Ishikawa or fishbone analysis. Earlier, Ran also mentioned and demonstrated an example as to how to run Ishikawa technique for root cause analysis. Just like a fishbone, you detail the possible root causes and try to pinpoint where you can actually address the challenge to get rid of that problem once and for all. Also, there are different methods as well, by the way. So we have seen also different methods for root cause analysis in different organizations. Some of them design their own way of addressing root cause analysis. We have seen that too. So we designed those tools as to Ishikawa, 5 why, Pareto, as well as 8D analysis, which is also very popular among management community as well as quality management community. So we have all these digitized. So all these root cause analysis, fishbone analysis, Ishikawa, 5Y, Pareto, 8D analysis, you can run on our software digitally with no need of paper. So you can capture the moment, your thought process as to what we were thinking during the root cause analysis performance meetings. You can also create the corporate record as to what you are thinking right now, how you are actually approaching it. And let's say a couple of years later, if you need to address it, then you can go back and see the records as to understand what was the thought process at that time. Things may change, and you may look at it from different point of view, and you understand the correlation, what is really going on. So we have all these available. So I think that is also exciting as to be able to run root cause analysis digitally linked to your quality management system or your management system in general. Every single manager will need to perform root cause analysis, because regardless of your department. You may be a general manager, you may be a quality manager or manufacturing manager or sales manager. We gotta perform this as business people. I mean, there is no other way. Otherwise, we'll keep seeing the same problem again and again, and we can't really address it, and it'll just perpetuate itself. It is inevitable. So we need to run it, and we have tools for it in a digital environment. Let me see if there is another question on our list. Well, looks like we addressed all the questions for now. So here is what we have been doing. We have a lot to cover in our summit, SYNERGIZE 2021. So we'll be talking about how you can digitize your business processes with a workflow engine and with a low-code, no-code business process environment. So earlier today, we talked about Synergy, content services platform. That's our true cloud, low-code business process automation platform. It is true cloud. Also, we have EBA, and EBA is also our electronic business automation platform, also called as Enterprise Content Management Platform, ECM. And we'll talk about EBA and how you can use it. And then we'll link it to cannabis industry as to how you can digitize your business processes to automate, digitize operations, as well as how to comply state and federal requirements and regulatory requirements on EBA digitally in cannabis industry. So we'll be really industry specific in coming partner hour session. So we are definitely looking forward to it, and we are excited. So I'd like to thank Ran and Sam for their presentation. Much appreciated. Ran shared a lot of education information as always, and we appreciate his partnership and cooperation. Sam, thank you very much for presentation as well. Now what we need to do is we need to take a 15 minutes break, let's say 10 minutes, and then we'll continue with EBA, how to automate and digitize business processes when you are working remotely on EBA platform. So we'll be right back. Thank you very much.